Welcome to the Greypilled podcast, the truth unveiled, exploring the depths beyond what is retail. Conspiracies, esoteric knowledge so enthralling. Open up your mind, let's dive into the sprawling. Oh yeah. Greypilled awaken, question what you know. Peeling back the layers, let your curiosity grow. Uncover hidden realities, break the mold. Come take the journey, let your mind unfold.
Death by cop, place it, death by cop, place it. See those lights blinking? Come on, just stop resisting and buy a death by cop, place it.
The Death by Cop playset. You know you want it, so stop resisting. Comes with a red and blue flashing light, 2 cops and a random victim. The Paranoid American playsets. Collect them all. New from paranoidamerican.com.
Disclaimer, these are custom art creations and not toys meant for wimpy little new world order babies. Don't eat the art. Don't sue the artist. For more details, visit paranoidamerican.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jules from the Greypilled podcast. Episode 9 now. That's pretty cool. It's been a minute since I've done an actual Greypilled podcast. I've been doing Pantheon projects with Adrian and stuff with Nate and Cody, obviously. Schizo News Network every Saturday, and had a podcast with Juan. I guess that was the last Greypilled episode. Did a sound science with Thomas and Gordy. Yeah, that intro was a playset. Death by Cop. There was like 8 or 9 play sets, but now there's only, I think, 6 or 7. So y'all go to paranoidamerican.com and cop that shit. No pun intended. Yeah, tonight I'm going to be talking about this book again. Yay! Another esoteric book review. I guess that's what I'm going to start calling these episodes. Esoteric book review. That has a good ring to it, especially because I'm going to be reviewing like Manly Palmer Hall and Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner. A bunch of cool shit. A book on Credo Mutwa that I'm going to do eventually about his life story of becoming a Sangoma in Africa and having these encounters with these extraterrestrials and reptilian beings, the Chiaturi, which was actually like the reptilian beings in Avengers Endgame, not Endgame, Infinity War. I don't know, that Marvel shit fucking sucks now, but I guess Infinity War was probably like the last cool one. I don't know. Endgame was all right. It was kind of lame, but yeah, those fucking aliens that came out the sky through that portal that Thanos opened up, those were the Chiaturi. That's what they were called. So fucking right there in your face, truth in plain sight. That's pretty fucking cool. Whenever you figure that out, David Icke, I'm pretty sure I heard that from him. But anyway, yeah, Unseen Forces. Last time I reviewed this book, I did the chapter on the gnomes and the fire salamanders. The 4 elements. You have earth, fire, water, and wind. So now I'm doing the Undines, or mermaids, sirens, and the Sylphs, or the wind spirits. You can maybe compare them to the Lulu wind demons that Lilith controls. Christ is king. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into this because I don't want to waste any time. It's actually like 12:30 in the morning. Yeah, let's get into this, man. Unseen Forces by Manly Palmer Hall. I think it's just an excerpt from a much larger book, maybe Secret Teachings. I'm sure Secret Teachings covers everything he talks about. Sure, I may do an episode on that. Bugs. That's what I get for being in my garage, everybody, in Mississippi. Summer's about to be here. I'm going to be doing fucking podcasts with my urban turban on. Urban turban's when you wrap your shirt and you tie the 2 sleeves around the back. Yeah, it's going to get hot. It's going to get hot as fuck. And fucking, come on, bro. Chill out. Fuck out of here. Anyway, so the Undines, known as nymphs, naiads, mermaids, sirens, harpies, sea daughters, sea goddesses. Their home is in the element of water, obviously. The oceans, rivers, streams, and lakes of the earth. And they govern the liquids or the vital forces of the human body. As the gnomes represent the sign of Taurus, the Undines represent Scorpio, having to do with life and vital forces of nature. So, yeah, they do represent nature, but in this book, Mr. Hall talks about the teachings of Paracelsus and his many views on the elementals, and I find that fascinating. I'm a follower of Christ, but these books have drawn me closer to God, to my Creator, and to Christ, and finding Christ within myself. And that's a pretty awesome feeling. We'll talk about that tomorrow night on Schizo News Network. Got some pretty good news to share with everybody. So, as the gnomes represent the sign of Taurus, and the gnomes represent the element of earth, and the most crystallized of the elements. So they would represent our bones. Paracelsus says, without the gnomes, no broken bones could be mended or put back together. Everybody would just be fucked up, just like walking around and shit. And then I've seen these posts on Twitter or X. Fucking hate calling it X. But seen these posts lately of these knee gnomes. And me and Juan talked about this. Shout out my boy Juan. One-on-one podcast. Talked about these ethereal or etheric gnomes. And I've seen these posts about these knee gnomes. And it may just be fucking like obese people or like really unhealthy people with some fucked up ass like cankle knee or some shit. You don't know if that's like cartilage or bone or if it's just like skin, but it looks like a fucking face of a gnome. We're not going to worry about the knee gnomes, but how ironic is that? Another synchronicity. I'm sure it was only a few weeks after I did that episode on the gnomes that I saw that post. So they represent the vital forces of the human body, or the liquids. They govern them, and the vital forces of nature as well. So I'm sure we'll come back to that. They are known to be very beautiful, obviously. Or, I don't know. We see these depictions of mermaids in movies, and they're gorgeous. And then some movies, they're hideous. Yeah. It's a fucking hybrid creature, regardless how they look. It's an abomination in the physical world. Now, if this represents something in the etheric realm, perhaps that is somewhat of the creator, or maybe it's of the archons. If this is a simulation, we don't know. No one fucking knows. I don't want to hear any of you motherfuckers say no. You got to question everything anyway. So do we really know anything? I listen to every view of a simulation, Hollow Earth, Flat Earth. I subscribe more to Hollow Earth, but that's because I believe in giants and all that shit, and that they're still here. But anyway, that's another tangent that I'm off on. So they are known to be very beautiful, and that is equivalent to power in their realm, as well as being amicable and fortunate, serving man in the spirit of love and sincerity. Now, I don't know about that, guys. Again, we'll probably come back to some of this stuff. Their supreme ruler, Nexa, is highly revered and obeyed. This is also their attitude towards God. So, I guess they obey and revere God. Oh shit, it's 12:33. Wouldn't you know it? There's a band called King Nexa. I'm sure it's a fucking rapper. They all use pentagrams and fallen angels as their symbology now. Fucking gay ass shit. I used to be on that shit back when I made rap music. Just like channeling fucking dark spirits and shit. Like, this shit's real. It's real as fuck. And that whole underground SoundCloud scene. The producers, a lot of the producers are cool guys. I actually still have a few guys that I keep up with on Instagram that I talk to every now and then. But a lot of those rappers are on some dark ass shit. I'm sure I'll be going into that when I do another Sound Science with Thomas. Oh yeah, I'm like the co-host on Sound Science now. So y'all check out Sound Science whenever we do it. I don't know. We don't have like a set date and time, like bi-weekly or anything, but I'm sure I think we're making a list of the genres that we're going to cover. He played videos on the podcast. So he got sent like 8 different, I guess like a copyright maybe, but I'm just like, fuck, man. So we can't even play music. And then they just pass this bill. Never mind. Completely different fucking subject. I need to create a Patreon so I can start talking about shit like that. I mean, if I create a Patreon, would anyone fucking like 99 cents a month? I don't know. I don't care. I have a real good job, and my wife makes real good money doing what she does. Anyway, they were given the western corner of creation and are said to sometimes whisper through the west wind. So the gnomes were given the northern corner, fire salamanders the southern corner, the Undines get the western, so I guess the Sylphs, who we'll talk about after the Undines, they get the eastern. So that's interesting. It all aligns, north, south, west, and east, or east and west. So it's pretty interesting stuff, man. When you first look at it, you're like, that's kind of fucking lame. But then when you read about it, you're like, oh shit. And if you understand occultism and symbolism and how the fucking earth works, or how this stuff says it works, which I've read into this stuff for a while now, so it's not particularly new to me, but still I'm trying to grasp all the concepts in here. So that's why I'm doing an episode on it. I read it a while ago and I was like, dude, that shit really piqued my interest. So they work with the creatures living in the sea and have an important part in the production of rain. That terrifies me to think about what's under the ocean that we don't know about, because the ocean makes up over 70% of the earth, but somehow we've only explored like 15 fucking percent of it. That's fucking weird. There's something else there. We'll never know. Does that mean that mermaids like control ocean life? If they control the elements of the water, their consciousness or essence would have an effect on marine life, right? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool to think about, though. And the production of rain, does that mean that they're in the fucking air too? I mean, I know clouds are well, now all the clouds are gone, I think, and we have fucking just like chemtrails and disguised UFOs in the air. Could be a lot of things. I mean, obviously, if they're living physically in the deepest depths, or if they exist in like I said, the elements, the H2O, the elements of the water, I can get down with that. The medieval philosopher Paracelsus held the belief that storms were caused by battles between the nature spirits. And when I finish up on the Sylphs, I'm going to read directly from the book, the last 2 kind of paragraphs, well, the last page and a half. It's very profound, I think, in finishing up this chapter, because this is really finishing up this first chapter. I'm going to do something on the Dweller of the Threshold. Maybe somebody will want to do that with me, hopefully, because that subject is very deep, and I'd like to get someone else's perspective on it as well, because, like I said, I'm learning about this stuff every day too. Storms caused by battles between. Yeah, I can believe it, honestly, because think about it. Fucking thunder and lightning, and then you get back into these pantheons of lowercase g gods. They're really just fallen angels who masqueraded as gods, because even in the Sumerian text they refer to a creator of all, meaning the creator of the universe. So yeah, I can see that actually existing. I'm gonna look more into that. Like I said, I think the last couple paragraphs have a lot more to do with this. So the crossing of their qualities resulted in great disturbances in the heavens, such as storms. Yeah, like I said, last couple paragraphs, I'll read from the book, and that gets into that a little more. The Undines are the same size as humans and are symbolized as maidens dressed in sea foam, riding on seahorses, or as mermaids. So they're the same size as us. So that's what leads me to believe that they are hybrids created by elder gods. I guess you know, lowercase g gods, not our creator of our souls. Like I said, they refer to, I think all pantheon of gods refer to a creator of all. I have to look into that a little more. Okay. Mermaids. So it's explaining what an undine is, I guess, depicted as, which I already explained. It was a mermaid, nymph, naiad, siren, harpy. I'm sure everyone's heard one of those different names for them at least once. I'm sure there's more names that I'm not mentioning. You know how they're portrayed as or how they're symbolized as. So they are composed of a more subtle essence and finer quality of ether, which makes more sense because they represent the liquids in our bodies. So I guess our blood, all the water that makes up our body, urine and semen, maybe, which goes to them being more from our creator in a way. Just think about that. If you had etheric mermaids in your semen, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel violated now, to be completely honest. Kind of fucked up. Shit. I didn't even think about that. So, oh my God. Wow. They live much longer than the gnomes, but are also subject to the laws of mortality. So damn, dude, the gnomes got the shit end of the stick. They are basically more ignorant than us, than humans. They don't live that long either. So these mermaids must live for a while. Again, goes back to the DNA of the fallen ones, who I think incarnated in avatar bodies over the ages as these 12, 14-foot demigods, or like I said, lowercase g gods. They tend to be interested in plants and flowers because the etheric double of the plant is their same type of ether. There are plants and flowers in the oceans, right? And you need water for plants to grow, for flowers to grow. You also need sunlight, but you need water. Man, they're fucking everywhere. If they're in the ether or they're here, if they're here, that's even fucking scarier. Imagine that. The Undines are cheerful and their emotions are vital rather than astral. Being vital in temperament, they have considerable influence on the vital temperament of humans. So it says they're cheerful. But again, I don't know if I believe that because, like I said, well, maybe it just depends on the energy of the human. Maybe if you're just like a piece of shit and you see these mermaids, you're like, oh, I'm going to fuck that fish. They're going to be like, nah, dog. And then their fucking fangs and their claws are going to come out and they're going to fucking eat you. But if you're like lost, maybe they help you to land. Maybe they eat your fucking soul. I don't know. I've never encountered a mermaid or a siren. And to be honest with you, I don't want to. But their emotions are vital rather than astral. Does that also mean that their emotions are more human-like than an enlightened being or something living in a higher dimension? Something to think about. And considerable influence on our temperament. So, I don't know. These Undines, I don't know what to think about them. It's just like the gnomes. I don't know what to think about them either. Because they're mischievous little motherfuckers and can't trust them. So, yeah, well, that was a kind of a dull ending on the Undines, but when I read from the book, it'll all come full circle. We always do. So the Sylphs, the inhabitants of the fourth ether, and they're also known as the air spirits or the air divas, DEVA. They are also known, though, as the riders of the night. Kind of gay, man. I don't know. Night riders? What's next? Mud sharks? So, I think these spirits or these elementals, I think they are of the greatest consciousness or whatever you want to call it, density. Lowest density. So it would be like fully etheric. Yeah. So let's get into the Sylphs. The inhabitants of the fourth ether, also known as the air spirits or the air divas. Right. We got that. Known as the riders of the night, the windborn, the storm angels, and the mindborn. The mindborn. I don't get it. Maybe we'll figure that out. I don't know. Fucking riders of the night. The ancients believed their homes to be in the clouds. Obviously, they're wind spirits. But deeper study has proved they really have their homes up on the mountaintops rather than in the air. I guess that means motherfuckers that be climbing mountains, when you encounter some shit, maybe it's just an air diva manifesting physically, or a sylph manifesting physically. Their own ether or element is a reflector of the mental plane in which they build air castles out of. They vary in appearance, some resembling human beings, but with slightly different proportions. Maybe they got like little arms and long legs. So they vary in appearance, some resembling human beings, but with slightly different proportions, and are said to be mirthful, eccentric, capricious, and inconstant, darting hither and thither, always busy working with the thoughts of living creatures. So, okay, as the Undines control our liquids and fluids in our body, so the Sylphs are in our thoughts, so they're really in the ether. But I guess if they manifest physically, they look like humans. Maybe that's what that meant. So maybe they're just angels, probably fallen angels. So I should have said earlier, the salamanders influence the blood and our lusts and passions. I remember now. Okay, the Undines just influence all the liquid, the water that makes up our body, the H2O. And the Sylphs are in our thoughts or our mental plane. That's what that meant. All right, full circle. I'm getting it. Sorry, it took me a second to put all that together. So the Sylphs assist in the airy elements such as gases. Oh shit. So we're farting out Sylphs. Why don't we just call it a Sylph? It's like, oh, I just Sylph. Like, quit Sylphing everywhere. It sounds kind of gross, though, doesn't it? It sounds like you're telling somebody to stop coming everywhere or something. So they influence the gases in our body. Maybe the gases of the earth. That's something to think about, man. No shit. The leader of the Sylphs is called Peralda, who is said to dwell on the highest mountain on earth. So Everest. Peralta. Maybe that name means something. Elemental King of Air. Order of the White Lion. Some gay elemental site. All right. So here we have, I guess, the fire salamander. On the picture I have, he looks like Snarf from fucking Thundercats. Fuck this guy. So there's our Sylph right here. I mean, that's really what I'm looking at it on a bigger screen right here. And here we got Gnome, obviously. Looks more like a troll, though. And last but not least, the Undine. And I mean, that doesn't look beautiful to me, man. The Sylph is hotter than the Undine, but I'm comparing cartoon elemental pictures right now, so take it for what it's worth. I would never fuck a mermaid. All right. So I guess that's Peralta. So there's Gob, king of the goblins, or the gnomes. There's Nexa, queen of the mermaids or the sirens, I guess, or the king, but she has tits, so there's Peralta. And what's that fucker's name? Snarf. That's his fucking name. So, yeah, I'm going to read a couple paragraphs before I get out of here because it's late and I got to do Strange Brew in the morning. Okay, so let me see something real fast. I got to see what the Fire Salamander King's name is. It says they share a great similarity with the Lucifer angels. So there you go with your fallen angels. And that's the fire salamanders. The fire salamanders and the sylphs are probably the two that are more etheric. I should have done those two together and done the Undines and Gnomes together. Whatever. So when you say salamander, people think you're fucking crazy. They're like, etheric salamanders? What the fuck, dude? Like, told myself I was going to quit cussing so much. I'm going to try. Can't find that fucker's name, man. Jinn. So that was Jinn, a.k.a. Snarf. The ancients claimed that wars, plagues, fires, earthquakes, and other cataclysms were caused by great armies of elementals who, marching in military array against each other, fought each other in these elements of nature. Thus, thunder and lightning were said to be caused by battles between the sylphs and salamanders. Again, should have done this episode on the sylphs and the salamanders, but I've already done one on the gnomes and the salamanders. If you haven't, checked that out. While rains and tidal waves were caused by the sylphs and the undines. Yeah, makes sense. Movement of bodies in the earth, landslides, and internal rumblings were said to be caused by inharmony between the salamanders and gnomes. Generated out of the explosions of gunpowder, the salamanders hover over battlefields. As great armies of red flaming creatures, they also feed upon human passion. There you go with the passions and lusts, obsessing the mind of man and finding expression through the respective ethers in his body. I know it's fucking weird, but just imagine. Think about it. Yeah, these four groups form the natural inhabitants of the etheric elements. Their labor is carried on through what is called the humidity body of both the Earth and the planetary logos, and also their corresponding poles in the body of the individual. Again, so if this relates to our body and the ether inside our body, all the elements that make us up, There are several other groups of elementals, some the products of natural phenomena, and others generated by man. Among these may be mentioned the thought and emotion elementals, okay, ghosts, specters, the dweller on the threshold, and larvae. The latter group, known also as etheric shells, are the etheric bodies of individuals who, in passing out at death, have gone on to the astral plane, casting off the etheric body. Soon after the physical form, they leave it behind in the ethers where it slowly disintegrates. It's the same thing with Credo Mutwa, the Moya, and the Ina. Yeah, hopefully soon. I still got to finish up the occult symbolism on animals, reptiles, birds, and the phoenix. Because I already did fish and insects. So, yeah. Y'all go watch those two videos. There's part 1 and part 2 of those. I'm not really buying any new books right now. I have a lot that I have to read. And I will. Always do. But, yeah, this was fun to talk about. Yeah. Got a lot of stuff in the works, guys. Just be on the lookout. Like I said, Pantheon Project, episode 1 and 2 are out. Episode 1 we did on Anu. Episode 2, his son Enlil. Yeah, fucking great episodes. We dove real deep, and we're probably still going to come back and talk about those two entities. Me and Adrian may record the episode on Inky tomorrow. The Lost Book of Inky focuses mainly on him. So after reading that book like 3 times, you learn a lot about that particular entity, or as I say, character, because it's a story. Y'all go to paranoidamerican.com. Also go to adultoccult.com. Got some adult X-rated comics. I'm stoked for the sound sciences that we have coming. We have one that we're going to do with Donut on Memphis Rap, and that one's going to be a treat for me because I rapped for 5 or 6 years. I don't really want to get into that, but because it was, like I said, super dark. But I know almost everything there is to know about Memphis rap. I mean, there's Memphis rappers that most people that don't even know exist. They put out one album and they fucking died, or they like got a job. I don't know. I can't wait for that one and all the ritualistic killings in Memphis, because it's named Memphis. I think there's a lot of symbolism having to do with that and the fucking pyramid that's there. And obviously Gangsta Boo, Lord Infamous, and Coops to Dying from 3-6 Mafia. 3 members from that group, dying within less than a 5-year period of each other. I'm pretty sure Lord Infamous and Coops to died in the same month. Sad, man, but when you give your life over to darkness and just separation from God for so long, man, I mean, it's just inevitable. Fucking Samael. Christ is King, guys. But anyway, yeah. And y'all tune in to Schizo News Network. I'm going to be doing a lot more kind of late night, hour-long episode. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to be reviewing these books. I'm going to start going live. Hopefully 5 people want to let me know, like, yo, dog, go live. Maybe I'll go live if not. I don't give a fuck. I don't really care what people think. So they don't like it. They don't like it. I like it. I like doing it. I'm having fun, having a good time out here in my fucking garage. Y'all have no idea. I'm dreading the heat that's coming to Mississippi. All right, guys. Like I said, I enjoyed this. Stay Greypilled, and I'll see y'all on the other side.
They said it was forbidden. They said it was dangerous. They were right. Introducing the Paranoid American Homunculus Owner's Manual. Dive into the arcane, into the hidden corners of the occult. This isn't just a comic. It's a hidden tome of supernatural power. All original artwork illustrating the groundbreaking research of Juan Ayala, one of the only living homunculologists of our time. Learn how to summon your own homunculus, an enigma wrapped in the fabric of reality itself, their power at your fingertips, their existence, your secret. Explore the mysteries of the Aristotelian, the spiritual, the Paracelsian, the Crowleyan homunculus, ancient knowledge lost to time, now unearthed in this forbidden tale. This comic book holds truths not meant for the light of day, knowledge that was buried, feared, and shunned. Are you ready to uncover the hidden? The Paranoid American Homunculus Owner's Manual, not for the faint of heart. Available now from Paranoid American. Get your copy at tjojp.com or paranoidamerican.com today.
Gather round, all you mystery seekers, we're diving deep into the dark, exploring realms beyond what's known, where the secrets of the shadows leave their mark. Come take a ride on the Greypilled Express, where esoteric knowledge is our guest. From conspiracies to cryptids, we unveil the veil. Mysticism and the occult, our forbidden tale. Join us on this journey to uncover the unknown.